King Aderemi was a ruler. During his days, he ruled the majestic land of Oong, which was located in the heart of an African territory. Oong was a land of rich traditions where cultures were cherished, and also one with a deep connection to nature, with farmers, fishermen, hunters, and traders residing in the land. King Aderemi ruled over the land of Oong with wisdom and kindness, alongside his queen, Queen Modupe, who was cherished by the people for her graceful and compassionate heart. Together, they ruled with compassion and a gentle hand, ensuring prosperity and harmony for and within their people. Within the palace walls, a few years later, a little princess whom they named Darasimi was born. Darasimi was a true reflection of the kingdom's beauty, for her birth brought joy and more prosperity to the land. It also filled the palace with constant laughter and celebration. As Princess Darasimi grew older, it became clear that she was gifted with a special connection with the animals that roamed the kingdom and the forest. Birds would perch on her shoulders as she walked down the palace walls, and lions and lionesses would warm up to her whenever she visited them in their cages. Same went for the animals in the forest. For this reason, on some days, she spent a few hours out in the forest, enjoying her time with the animals of the kingdom and with the palace guards who watched over her to make sure she was okay. As Princess Darasimi came out more, the people of Oong also saw that she possessed the gift of speaking and understanding the language of animals. This was a powerful and rare gift that only 1 in 1,000 children or humans possessed. Few months later, King Aderemi married another wife, as it was customary for kings to have more than one wife. Her name was Queen Itunu. Queen Itunu was a beautiful, young and pretty daughter of the soil of Oong land. She also, like Queen Modupe, was beautiful and graceful, which was one of the qualities the king saw in her that made him choose her amongst all the maidens of the kingdom. When Queen Itunu came into the palace, Princess Darasimi took a liking to her, and they both became like mother and daughter. If you were looking for Darasimi, look no further. She was in the chambers of Queen Itunu. As the months went by, Princess Darasimi became more beautiful as she grew older, and a few years later, she was to clock the age of 10. On the eve of her 10th birthday, the palace was decorated beautifully, for the king and queen were happy that their little daughter was graciously growing. The D-Day came, and a grand celebration was held to celebrate her. The air was filled with the sounds of music and laughter. Everyone in the palace celebrated the princess and ate to their satisfaction. The king also gave out foodstuffs to the people, so they all picked what they wanted, went home, cooked, and were merry. The happiness in the air was intoxicating, but amidst the celebration, a shadowy figure slipped into the palace unnoticed. Under the cover of darkness, the shadowy figure casted a spell that filled the palace with a thick mist. The mist carried a sleep-inducing enchantment, causing everyone within its reach to fall into a deep, short sleep. When the mist cleared and they all woke up, alas, Princess Darasimi was nowhere to be found. The palace was thrown into chaos. King Darasimi and Queen Modupe were devastated by their daughter's disappearance. Queen Itunu threw herself to the floor and wailed. The entire kingdom mourned the loss of their beloved princess, and the land of Oong was overcome with a sense of sorrow. The once thriving land began to wither, and the animals that had once thrived in Darasimi's presence withdrew into their shells. Years passed, and the hopes of finding Darasimi dimmed. As that happened, the kingdom's prosperity also struggled, and a sense of despair still settled over the land. Now, in these waiting years, Queen Modupe bore another child, this time a boy, whom they named Prince Aderemi. Queen Itunu also bore a child a few months later, a girl whom they named Princess Folake. In another village, a small village far, far away from the land of Oong, lived a young boy named Olabode. Bode's father was a farmer, and as it is the job of farmers to go to the farm every day, Bode went to the farm with his father either to plant, tender the crops, or to harvest. Now, Bode loved animals, and on the days he didn't go to the farm with his father, he would be in the nearby forest plucking fruits and listening to the birds chirping. He noticed that the birds and animals that ran from the villagers usually warmed up to him whenever he went to the forest with other children to pluck fruits. Slowly and gradually, with their daily activities being the same, a few years passed, and Bode was now grown into a handsome young teenager. One day, while he was in the forest gathering fruits from a tree and having the animals circled around him, he noticed a cat curled up in a corner of another tree, looking tired and frail. He walked up to the cat and thought the cat was going to run as he approached it, but the cat just lay there staring into his eyes. Without hesitation, Bode picked it up, wrapped it with some withered leaves he saw lying around, gathered more fruits, and went back to the village. When he got to his house, his mother saw the cat, and she immediately fell in love with it. This was strange to her and Bode, because they both knew how much she disliked cats. She was surprised at how much she fell in love with the cat, and thought it was because of how beautiful and white that it was. As the days went by, Bode tended to the cat, and it got better, after which both of them became inseparable because it followed him to almost everywhere he went. And as the weeks went by, Bode noticed he could distinctly pick sounds that his cat made. He noticed whenever his cat meowed, it sounded differently to his ears. He also noticed this as well when he went to the forest, that the noises that the animals made sounded differently. This was new to him, so he thought he was imagining things, and for this reason, he shrugged it off and just forgot about it. A few years later, on a rainy day, it was Bode's 18th birthday. That morning, he woke up to his cat beside him. He was so pleased about what day it was that he grabbed it in a tight hug. But almost immediately, he threw it away, got up from his bed, and curled up against the wall, looking at the cat in fear. He thought he was dreaming because he kept cleaning his ears and rubbing his eyes, trying to wake up from this dream. He curled up the more in fear as his cat walked closer to him and begged it to get away from him, but it just kept coming closer and closer. Slowly, he relaxed, calmed down, and looked at his cat as it continued to walk up towards him. "My name is Darasimi, and I am human," his cat repeated. "Don't be scared that she can hear me. This means that she can now clearly hear the language of animals, and your gift is now sharpened. The way you threw me away showed you heard what I said and you understood." Bode, with a blank, lost expression, looked at his cat and asked if he was dead and in the land of the spirit. But Darasimi replied and said no, he was very much alive. Now fully calm, a few minutes later, Bode and Darasimi talked extensively. She explained to him how she also had the same gift and was a princess before she was turned into an animal. She further narrated how she disappeared and found herself turned into a cat, and how she had been wandering between towns and villages trying to survive with high hopes that she would find a human who can speak and understand the language of animals. But she found none till she saw him in the forest that day. She sensed that Bode was like her when she saw the way the animals melted towards him, and she knew it was just a matter of time before his gift was revealed. As animals don't warm up to humans, they run away from them. And this feeling was why when he picked her up, she did not fight or try to run away, because she knew before she would find another human who has this gift, it might take a lifetime or maybe never. Bode, still perplexed at how he could now hear the language of his cat, decided he was going to go into the forest later that day and see if he could truly understand the language of other animals as Darasimi had said. So, in the afternoon, he set out to the forest, and upon seeing him in the forest, the animals warmed up to him and they all communicated. Truly, he heard what the birds, squirrels, antelopes, and monkeys said. Surprised and happy about his newly discovered gift, he went back to the village when it was dusk and met Darasimi on his mother's laps, playing heartily but earnestly expecting his return. He walked into his room. Darasimi followed, and he confirmed to her that he could now hear and understand what animals said. This newly discovered gift of Bode meant he was a special child with a powerful gift.